everyone, it's Chris O'Neill from Sew the Distance. I thought I'd be outside today on this beautiful fall day here in New England. So I'm going to start a new series called Lessons from an Old Quilt. And the first quilt that we are going to look at today is this beauty, which is a glorified 9-patch. So let's take a closer look and learn from this quilt and from the maker who made it. Okay, so taking a closer look at this quilt, you will see this is a 9-patch, but these squares in it are a little bigger. Also, this is called an orange peel. Notice how it's curved, and that goes over the 9-patch and really gives it this cool effect, which of course goes with the name glorified 9-patch. So a few things I want you to notice about this quilt is, first of all, it's hand quilted. It's hand pieced as well. But notice here, the maker did not quilt around this particular square, okay? And here she did a lot of the others. Here, it's not quilted either. So it's interesting to me that some parts are not quilted and some parts are. And that's not consistent with each square, but it does seem that this maker had a path like this for the most part, and didn't break that path just because each block was not quilted exactly the same. And I find that interesting because as makers, we sometimes get obsessed with stuff like that, that really in the long run does not matter. I love how the person who made this took detail to make these in the same direction. That also isn't consistent throughout all these blocks, but it is cool. The stitching is not perfect, and this maker used white thread. He or she pretty much used white thread throughout and didn't get hung up on matching the thread to the actual quilt. It could be because the maker only had white thread or because it was a design choice. We're really not sure. But as quilters, we need to make sure that we don't get hung up on those details. Another thing I want you to notice is the points aren't exactly perfect. And I think this is important because that's another thing that kind of trips us up as makers. We get all upset with ourselves because things are not perfect. And you know, I didn't notice that until I really started looking at this quilt closely and seeing exactly what I could learn from this quilt. Another thing I want you to notice is this piece is pieced together. You can see that. And this maker did that a lot throughout. If he or she didn't have a big enough piece, just pieced it together, which is wonderful, and you would never notice unless you looked at it closely. So let's take a minute and look at the binding. The backing, this blue fabric, and the binding, they're all the same. This maker took the binding and wrapped it around, again, not at an exact point, and didn't really stress about it being perfectly done. Same thing with the scallops. The scallops are uneven, but again, the overall quilt, no one would notice unless you really took a good, fine look at this quilt. There are a few fabrics I want to point out that are really, really cool. So let's take a look at those as well. So this is a really cool block, and there's only one like this in the entire quilt because the maker probably, we can assume, ran out of the purple fabric, either the light or the dark, and decided to put the two together along with this checkerboard gingham. So it's interesting to me, again, it goes back to how the maker pieced blocks. He or she made do with what they had. And here we have this adorable conversation print that has a vase and some umbrellas and a blue and white background with the polka dots. It's just so cute. And this combination is really cool because it's a denim color and a plaid together. There's only a few of these in the quilt, and it really doesn't go with the entire theme of the quilt, but it absolutely makes it interesting. And here's the overall quilt. If we look at it, you can see there's duplicate blocks. Many of the blocks are in here at least twice, and they're not scattered about. There is some order to them, but you can see that it just has a really cool effect with the blue, and the values of these are striking. So thanks for watching. I hope you learned as much as I did. I've owned this quilt probably 20 years, and there's things that when I really examined it that I never noticed before. So it was a great opportunity for me to learn, and hopefully for you to learn. If you like what you see, please subscribe to my videos. Each week I will have a different old quilt that we'll talk about. Have a great day.